On this episode of China Uncensored, to arms, my 50-cent army, to arms! Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Mothers-in-law, often a punchline in of themselves, except when they get kidnapped. Some of you may know my friend and fellow YouTube celebrity, Ben Hedges. He's the host of 老外看中国.
欢迎收看老外看中国，我是郝一博。
And this is Ben's mother-in-law, Sheng Xiaoyun. And this is Ben's mother-in-law's house after it was ransacked by Chinese police, which looks roughly like my old house in the Bronx after it was ransacked by a drug-crazed lunatic. And before ransacking her home, police went to the elementary school where she works and kidnapped her. That must have been fun for the kids. So it turns out Xiaoyun committed what the Chinese regime considers one of the most heinous crimes imaginable, filing a legal complaint. And while you may think that being a former elementary school teacher already makes Xiaoyun a scourge on society, there's one thing you should know. She practices meditation, Falun Gong, which is based on the principles of truth, compassion, and tolerance. And in China, believing in those principles is dangerous. Because in 1999, Chinese leader Jiang Zemin decided to eradicate anyone who practiced Falun Gong. So he created the world's biggest internal security force and used it to kill them. But since current Chinese leader Xi Jinping came to power in 2012, he's been waging war on the Jiang Zemin political faction that used its genocide of Falun Gong to grab power. In the past few years, Xi has arrested and purged hundreds of Jiang's men under a so-called anti-corruption campaign. That includes some of the highest-ranking members of the Communist Party. I guess many Falun Gong practitioners in China felt then that this might be a good time to file complaints against Jiang Zemin, for all the torture and genocide. And technically, in China, there's a mechanism for doing that. You file a complaint with the Supreme People's Court and the Procuratorate. So, Xiaoyun, having been harassed multiple times by China's internal security police, including being tortured in a labor camp for a year, decided it was within her legal right to file a complaint of her own. In fact, since June this year, Chinese people have filed well over 150,000 complaints against Jiang Zemin, and some of them have been abducted or harassed by police. Now, before you say, well, what did you expect? First of all, blaming the victim allows this type of genocide to happen. But more important, the legal complaints against Jiang are both legitimate and have legal standing. And how the Chinese regime handles them deals with the fundamental issue of whether or not China can have rule of law. If Chinese people are arrested for exercising the rights supposedly guaranteed by the Chinese Constitution, such as filing a legal complaint, how can you expect the Chinese regime to follow laws about intellectual property theft, international trade, cyber espionage, the South China Sea? But even more important is that this is a chance for you to do something while at the same time getting to harass one of the jerks who makes life miserable for ordinary Chinese citizens. Xiaoyun was detained by police from this Chinese police station. And this is the actual name and phone number for the police chief responsible for her arrest. So get out your phones, my precious 50-cent army, and give Police Chief Yu Changjun a call and tell him to release Sheng Xiaoyun. This number is also in the description below. Obviously, you'll have better luck communicating with him if you speak Mandarin. Before he hangs up on you. I'm not kidding, by the way. Actually call this number, and then send me an email with the subject line, "I called the police," and tell me what happened on the call. My goal is to have 500 viewers call this number. I think that'll be enough to give him the message that it's not okay to arrest your citizens for filing a complaint. Let's help rescue my friend Ben's mother-in-law. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. I want you to join the China Uncensored 50-cent army. Uncensoring China isn't easy, since the Chinese Communist Party is investing $8.9 billion into spreading their censorship overseas. So how did China manage to conduct all this high-speed rail development? Simple. They stole the technology from Japan.